The battle for Bu Dap is supposed to be an all-Vietnamese operation, but it's becoming more Americanized every day. American helicopters and fighter planes raking the North Vietnamese positions that surround the Special Forces camp. And an all-American fire base known as Jerry. The 1st Air Cavalry Division reoccupied this abandoned fire base only 5 days ago. And now, like Bu Dap, Jerry is surrounded and under siege. Now these Americans are racing against time to build new bunkers before enemy artillery zeroes in on Jerry. For some, the race has already been lost. 5 GIs have been killed and 11 wounded here at Jerry today alone. Moving around is done at one's own risk. The operational commander, Lieutenant Colonel Ronald Rasmussen, took the same risk when he paused for a moment to answer a question.
Colonel, what do you think the enemy's intentions are for the Bu Dap area as a result of the last week's action?
Well, I think he has 2 things in mind. First of all, he'd like to upset the pacification program here in this particular district. And secondly, if the opportunity presents itself, he'd like to overrun the district headquarters.
You think the pressure here at...
Keep going.
This is exactly the way it's been at Firebase Jerry for the last 24 hours. You never know when that terrible, frightening word, incoming, is going to start. And there it is.
This time, the enemy gunners were off their mark, and the shells exploded in a momentarily deserted section of the base. Jerry's defenders retaliated by firing their howitzers point-blank into the enemy positions only 30 yards beyond the perimeter. CBS cameraman Pham Ngoy Hoan and soundman Pham Thanh Xuan repeatedly exposed themselves to enemy fire to film these scenes. A reconnaissance platoon was sent out to find the enemy mortar and ran right into a big enemy bunker. Outmanned and outgunned, the Americans beat a hasty retreat to the relative safety of the barbed wire perimeter, firing back from behind the trenches, World War I style. Helicopter gunships moved in to rocket the enemy bunkers, striking so close that shrapnel fragments whistled over Jerry's own sandbags. Firebase Jerry was reopened to give the South Vietnamese some help, but Jerry's defenders are now spending most of their time defending themselves, and there's a growing suspicion here that it is the Americans, not the South Vietnamese troops, who are the real enemy targets. Most of the Americans at Jerry are newcomers to combat. It's taken only 5 days here to make them veterans.
So that's the way it goes at Firebase Jerry, the newest North Vietnamese target. A few minutes of hard work and a few minutes of hell and fear. You may get used to it, but you never get over it. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News, Firebase Jerry, South Vietnam.